This has been a test. Swirling around through the different screens. Wednesday nights, that time again. Refresh, refresh. See if we're live. Yeah, indeed, it seems that we are. Hey, 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 party people. Scroll down. And Anatoly Toki Grinberg is the first in the chat today. Hello there. This is Matt Black, getting things going. And DJ Backbone giving us lots of love there. Number one in the place, yeah man. The Parpatron 9000 gently parping on in the background. Check my levels, check my head. And Rastafaro, like the handle there, mate. Good evening to you, Emperor-sized yo. Darren Kent, hey, Jay Maston from Slovakia. Faithful listeners tuning in, Blue Sauce in the place, Road Eye, hi there, mate. We've got a hopefully selection from you to check later on, one of your suggestions. Raver Bill, we shall rave on in our chilled way for the next couple of hours, and maybe a little bit more actually, because we got a bit of a special show today, because the one and only Mixmaster Morris is in the house, literally in my house, come to stay for a few days. It's just not music. Well, it sort of is music. Raver Bill. Hi there, Alistair Massingham, Richie McCoy. Yay, you made it there. All right. Pete Elastic Eye, stretching your eyeballs out there, mate. Big yo to you. And Engin, Pirate TV original crew, and Mixmaster's getting busy on the mix, Engin, I'm pleased to say. And we were listening to some of your tunes last night, and he was saying, I like everything I've heard so far. Very good sign there. Electro Elvis, loud and clear on Twitch. Okay, I've waffled off a little bit now, so I think I might get into some jamming. Just say hello to the Major. Easy to you, mate. Savannah, good evening. Dustin Boyd beaming in there. And Philip Cliff, who's a top fan from Yorkshire. Yes, mate. Thanks for the support. Thanks for being here. And DJ Chiba. Yes. And there is, oh, there's a nice picture of Mixmaster Morris has just come up on the feed there. The one and only Mixmaster, surrounded by his oceans of vinyl and music in the old flat in Campbell, which I'm sad to say is no more. He's moved on to pastures new, but that frees him up to come and be in different places. And I will say that Mixmaster Morris, apart from being my favourite DJ in the whole world, let's have a look and say hello to everyone. He's a major, major music head and knows far, far more than me about music, and probably many other areas of knowledge as well. Let's say hello on the Hugh Cam here. Hi there. Yeah. All right, party people. Hey, Olive, welcome. Happy Wednesday to you. Brian Jackson, he's moved over. Nice one. Guy Carter, got it locked in. Good stuff. So I'm going to do a bit of normal jamming and some news, etc., like we normally do. And then a little bit later, I'm going to invite the Mixmaster to take the chair here with me, and we're going to hear some of his music. Actually, going to be a bit of an exclusive on some vintage Mixmaster tracks, which are a delight for the ear. And then we're going to talk about music and see what comes up. I'll probably let him do most of the talking because he has got a lot to say and I like to hear it. Snowdonia, Adam Rakubao, good to hear you, mate. I'll apologise generally if I pronounce people's names wrong because, well, I know I don't always get it right. Big Pretender, sweet in the place. Sweetness to you, Big Pretender. Percy 303. Yeah, it is that time on a Wednesday night when we go pirate. And Mighty Mark, hi there. Okay, plenty of the regular crew in the house today. Astro Raf 303 has just beamed in. Yeah, indeed. Mixmaster Morris, the big MMM, also known as the Irresistible Force, will meet the immovable object that is Pirate TV for a sonic collision. Okay, Almondos Funk. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I shall get going with a little bit of a jam. Actually, just before I came on, my whole setup kind of fell to pieces. I had to reconfigure it all at the last minute, but hopefully you can all see that. And we're going to get going on a little thing called OCD ADD, and this is by Guy Katsev, engineer in London, who, funny enough, engineered recording the drums with Tony Allen in Dean Street Studios. This is a little tune he put together with a vocalist friend of his under the name Tiger Monkey, OCD ADD. Let's go. Yeah.
Dreamer, tripping like Inception. Everything in line, it's my new obsession. I've given you the answer and I've asked the question. You never made a grade because of short attention. I'm a dreamer, tripping like Inception. Everything in line, it's my new obsession. I've given you the answer and I've asked the question. You never made a grade because of short attention.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer, OCD and you are ADD.
How you feel?
Rolling on a whistling and I can't stop. Behind all those floors, but we're cleaning up. Nothing in my wardrobe that is straight enough. I like a bit of dirt. I like a bit of dust. Rolling on a whistling and I can't stop.
Rolling on the whistling. Okay, just pick that one up.
There's nothing in my wardrobe straight enough. I like a bit of dirt. I like a bit of dust. Me if you can, you're probably insane in the brain like a monkey man. It's running in the family, we do it like the military. You're effing up my symmetry, my imagery, get off of me. Span, now catch me if you can. You're probably insane in the brain like a monkey man. It's running in the family, we do it like the military. You're effing up my symmetry, my imagery, get off of me.
Yeah.
I am OCD and you are
it for a spin.
To the future, I can see you spinning. Out of control with your hairline thinning. No need to explain, I was only kidding. Like the way you roll, drop a D on this shit. I am OCD and you are ADD.
Yeah.
I am OCD and you are ADD.
Okay, let's move this out a little bit. How's the level doing? That's about right. Nice one, Olive. You've remembered to eat some lunch today, so you're good for the next 2 hours. My wife just bought me some lovely apple cake, but I was too busy to eat it. I'll have to wait for later. Hey, Teleporter Cafe. Happy Wednesday to you as well. This is where we beam it out. Sign-ups to sign-ups worldwide. Call it Pirate TV. Here with the crew. Hey, there's swooning fish. Yeah. say woo, 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 woo. Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. Alright then, Nikolai. Pirates of the airwaves in the place. Pop, pop, pop. Popping, popping, popping off. Drum and bass. A freestyle what, Stewface? But we're in the place. We're all part of the human race. And just in case, I'm going to get in your face. Yeah, it is a bit, it's a good one for the OCD, ADD old jam, isn't it? There, Paul Reynolds. Live and direct. This is the way we do it on Jam. No idea really what I'm doing. Yes, and indeed, Alistair Massingham, you have heard correctly, even if you haven't tasted it, Mixmaster Morris is also, like all the best DJs, an excellent cook. It's been nice actually making some food for him after all these many delicious dishes that he's cooked for me over the years. And there he is on the chat. Say hello to the Mixmaster in the place. The iconography. Oh, I like that Balkan sample. Taking it somewhere else. Man like Square Pusher. Linked in to Jam. Mix out those drums of his, make a bit of space, and dial it back to the start, and pull it back. Square Pusher, this is called Welcome to Europe, if only. And a new listener, Kipper 30, Good to see you here, mate. Fans from way back, remembering the old Beats and Pieces. This is how we do Beats and Pieces live and direct on a Wednesday night. Good evening to Rough Ra. And hey, Ian Daniels, buenas noches. It's from Malaga. Diego Jankilevich. Many new pirates coming. Hey there, John Sefton. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to dial up a little bit of news. Let me get my notes here. What we got? Okay, let's get my next thing ready. System 7 coming up. But let's dial over. I might have forgotten to get my webpage ready. Let's have a look. Chrome webpage. Oh, showing me undies. There's my cue sheet. Oh yeah, so this is quite funny. Let's take a look at these. I'll strip old Square Pusher down a little bit. So he's quite manic. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, we'll rattle through these news items this week. So there's quite a few. So apparently plug-in hybrids, the sort of hybrid things, are not actually that good, and the manufacturers have totally lied, and they put out a lot more CO2 than they said. Surprise, surprise. Shades of Volkswagen, and they're fixing the emissions scandal there. Nasty. Now this is Audi's latest PR disaster. I'm going to show you this picture, right? There's been a big outcry for this. Yeah, medium. Thank you. I got you. Over this picture. This is a new Audi advert. Now it aroused enough hating, and then a lot of people were saying, actually, I don't see there's a problem there. I'm not going to say any more, but if you want to give us your opinions on the chat, I'd be quite interested to see what the pirates think of that. Perfectly straightforward little advert, or actually some nasty overtones. Tell us what you think. Moving swiftly on, that's a nice picture of Mr. Smiles, Mr. Bezos there. His wealth's gone up by a third, as in has all the richest people in the world, basically, their wealth's gone up by nearly a third, whilst everyone else is hurting. Moving swiftly on. Now, this is a nice story. Come on, let's dial Square Pusher back again. Buy myself a little bit more time. Actually, I know what we can play here. In fact, let's be a bit crude here. Where is Ernesto's down tempo? Right, yeah, quick shout out to Ernesto here, who's contributed a nice track. Don't forget, give us some signal, we call it. Call out to the Pirate TV Massive if you're doing anything creative, music, artwork, or just got a link you want to share, something you think's cool. You can ping it over to jampro1000@gmail.com. and we'll feature it on the show. So this is Ernesto, who's done a few tracks he's given to us. This is, I think, using the down tempo pack in Jam. Shows how easy it is to make something that sounds pretty decent. Not taking anything away from Ernesto. Thank you for contributing this, mate. Sounds good. Okay, now let's return to this story here. Exclusive. The billionaire who wanted to die broke is now officially broke. Chuck Feeney, who founded Duty Free Shoppers, made billions, has finally given away all his money to charities. Nothing left now, and he couldn't be happier. He's 89, and as a philanthropist, he pioneered the idea of giving while living, spending most of your fortune on big hands-on charity bets instead of funding a foundation upon death. Since you can't take it with you, why not give it all away, have control where it goes, and see the results with your own eyes? We learned a lot, we do some things differently, but I'm very satisfied. My thanks to all who joined in this journey, and to those wondering about giving while living, try it, you'll like it. It's donated more than $8 billion to charities. And he's given it all away, basically. Given away 375,000% more money than his current net worth. I think he kept a couple of million, it says here, which is pretty reasonable. And given away 8 billion. And I think now he just lives in a little flat, pretty minimally. Nice article there. Maybe Callum will post in the link for that one as a really nice story to hear. It's not all about selfishness. Plenty of philanthropic, generous, altruistic people out there. Oh yes. Okay. Oh no, there's the Audi. All right. So let's just have a quick chat. Look on the chat and see what people think. Adrian Taylor says it's not sexualization of young kids; it's sexualization of bananas. It's only a banana. Yes. What do we think here? Scrolling back up. Oh, lots of comments. Oh, look, there's far too many for actually to check through here. I can't actually see where this thread's gone, in fact. Okay, never mind. Okay, Nikolai says, nothing overly wrong, but a tasteless play on classic car models and pin-ups. Yes, right. Yes, I see what you're saying. Astroraf says, yes, definitely lols. Nasty overtones is required in advertising. Crass and Dodgy says, pursue 303. Okay, generally a thumbs down for Audi. This is a massive story here, but I don't want to sort of spend too much on it because we don't spend too much time bemoaning things, even when we've got a genuine snouts in the trough story here. Basically, it's been a massive expose showing that, you know, the banks know that they're laundering loads of money from mafia and criminals, from drug cartels, organised crime rings, corrupt leaders, but they know and they still carry on doing it, all laundered clean. The banks don't stop the money and the government doesn't stop the banks. So they basically got a little tidy arrangement there. If the bank get anything dodgy, they just sort of send a little note to the government. The government doesn't do anything and the banks continue dealing with it. This is a story on BuzzFeed. You can also read about it on the more less corrupt papers around there, like The Guardian. And it's called the FinCEN Files Investigation. A huge trove of secret government documents. Some good person there has taken the risk and blown the whistle on it. Trillions of dollars in criminal money through the banks like, who we got? HSBC, JP Morgan Chase, surprise, surprise, Standard Chartered, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of New York. I think they're all pretty much got their snouts well and truly in the trough there. Quite a mad story though. Let's move on from there. I like Riverford Organic. They're certified as an ethical B Corporation. This is B Corporation's a new type of structure that a company can have where it's not just about profit, it's also about worker satisfaction, environmental benefit, what the purpose of the company being more than just making a profit. And congratulations to Riverford. They scored 124 out of 200 in the assessment, focusing on workers' well-being through its John Lewis style employee ownership model. Nice. And Airbus, the big aircraft manufacturer, revealed plans for zero-emission aircraft fueled by hydrogen. They got a way to go, 2035, but they said, again, it's only a couple of years ago, people saying, no, you'll never fly by hydrogen or electric power. It was wrong. It can happen. It must happen. And now I want to give a mention to a guy that I actually know, who right now is still, as far as I know, in a tree in Parliament Square protesting for XR. Let's see if I can dial him in.
The United Nations has said for the last 2 years we've got until the end of 2020 to bring emissions from going up to significant reductions. So if they've not sorted this out in the next 4 months, we're all doomed, according to science. So my current destiny is in the hands of Parliament, because I will come down as soon as they give the climate and ecological emergency bill a proper reading, fast track it through Parliament. Like Mandela right here, freedom is never given, it's always won.
Very true.
And at the end of day 3 they stopped food and water coming up. So we had 2 days with no food and water, got some water at the end of yesterday. We didn't get it back by asking nicely, we got it back by taking it back, by people throwing up food and water. 4 people got arrested trying to get us food and water, but 40 people joined them. And that persuaded the police that that was an out of control situation, so now they want to keep control, so they're going to let food and water come up, hopefully today.
In relation to the protection of the tree, whether he's allowed food, water and a battery charger for his phone to ring his solicitor, did you know?
Yes, direction from Bronze 1 is water and food.
And not the charger, is that correct, did you know?
No negative.
It's up to each of us to decide what freedoms we want, and then to start using them and asserting them. Otherwise we won't have them. We did manage to get some water in yesterday. The first time I've had a smoothie for over a week. I know this is where I'm supposed to be at the moment. Right now, if the 3 of us weren't up here, none of this attention would be being paid to the climate and ecological emergency bill.
So he's up there with, I think, 1 or 2 other protesters. Athena and Ellie were also up there. Enough respect, as I say. I know Dr. Marksy, and I have to take my hat off for the sheer balls to do something like that and stick with it. He's been up there for, I think, 18 days now, which is pretty remarkable. So I think let's all support XR and support him, support the climate and environmental emergency bill, and hopefully these actions will not be in vain and we'll get a result. We're going to rock on with some more jam like this. Morris says he uses Riverford. Good one. Juicy Fatty says dinner will be ready in 3 minutes. Yeah, there's NTV DVD. It's a good old fat one. Stewface, I think, for going to the loo. They go up the tree and then pass it down and people take it away to the loos for them. Can't be easy. Big up XR, Extinction Rebellion, big up Larch Marksy, big up all of us taking some action. This is System 7, the wonderful Steve Hillage and Miket Garaudi, good friends of ours. There's murder getting this hi-hat sampling. Just wouldn't play ball. Let's have a bit of Syndrome. Wednesday night, neuron to neuron, synapse to synapse, across the tracks. Pirate TV. Mixmaster Morris coming up. Yeah. Oh yeah, quite like that rhythm. Like that. Chat's running away today. Hey there, Andreas Garb. Thanks for your reactions. Hello, Andrea Goring. Almondos Funk. Well, that's the point of adverts, isn't it? To make those companies seem fluffy. Yes, Stewface, it is certainly correct, I think, that the EU takes a harder line on money laundering than the UK. Probably one of the reasons that we've been manipulated into leaving the EU, so all the big criminals can steam even more money into London and buy up everything. I wonder if there's anything left, really. Yeah. Yeah, Adrian Taylor, I would love to rejoin the EU. I was actually looking into seeing if I could get a German passport with my sister just now due to our Jewish heritage, but actually it looks like we've missed the boat, so we'll stay here. Take our chances with the rest of the UK. Okay, now I've been instructed, Harrison, it's time to go to bed, school tomorrow. I feel very mean saying that, but Ben Reed has told me that I've got to say. Maybe you can listen under the sheets. That's what I used to do at boarding school, Radio Luxembourg back in the day. Yeah, there's the note I was looking for. See this slider here, right? You can quite often hit the right note. Because it's conformed to scale for samples. Hey, Toby Lewis. Hi there, mate. Great to see you. Very welcome. Wednesday night Pirate TV. Take it somewhere else. That's interesting, Andreas Garb there talking about his fiancée applying for a German passport, but then she has been living in Germany for many years. Ich kenne ein bisschen Deutsch. Meine Akzent nicht so schlecht, but my vocabulary is that of a 3-year-old. Mind you, my dad learned. Slow-mo. Finger tracks says Deutsch gut. Every country has its charms, doesn't it? Personally, I'm quite a big fan of Angela Merkel. think Angela Merkel, rather. She's been very generous, opening the borders to refugees, and actually that gamble has paid off, from what I hear. Yeah, Electro Elvis, let's echo that, mate. Shout out to friends at the XR Wendover Active Resistance Camp. Electro Elvis says this week I've managed to repair the batteries for their solar panels and get more water on site. As probably the builders who've ever stopped the activists from getting any water from the petrol station. Dr. Acor, welcome, mate. Okay, let's take this somewhere else. Pete Elastic Eye says, shout out to Limbic Cinema crew, projecting onto the newly renamed Bristol Beacon tonight, formerly Colston Hall. Big thumbs up for that one there. Let's hear it for Bristol Beacon Hall. I still think Banksy's idea of putting the statue back and then surrounding it with some other sculptures of protesters pulling it down was highly imaginative, but actually really a practical solution. So that's ticking all the boxes for that statue issue. Slurping out. 1, 2, 3. This is Ross from Friends on Ninja Tune. It's called Epiphany. I think I might have played this one before. I like this one. Nice rhythm. Gun scoot, Andreas. Chris Westcott. Respect from Bristol, thank you. My sister's from Bristol actually, she's come to stay. Keeps us updated on news there. Unquestionably one of the coolest places in the UK. And we're counting down to the Mixmaster. I think about 20 minutes we shall say hello to Morris. Right, that's a nice comment. So Andreas, who I believe is from Germany, commented, absolutely, Merkel is a conservative and has rarely taken clear decisions in the past, but in this 2015 she clearly acted out the C in her party's acronym, okay, the Christian Social Democrats, and took in those 800,000 or so refugees. See what else he said? Oh, bollocks. There we go. Despite a vocal minority of right radicals, her popularity soared. I'm no conservative, but good on her. Thank you, Andreas. That's an interesting comment, and nice to hear that from a German citizen. It's kind of was my feeling as well. Enough respect to Angela Merkel. Enough respect to Germany for providing some leadership and some charity and some generosity. Speak as someone whose father was actually a refugee from Germany. Yeah. Morris says we should have a Tony Allen statue. Right on, mate. And Olive offers One day there'll be a giant statue of you, Morris. I'll see to it. Nice one, Olive. I'll club in for that, definitely. And Mighty Mark says we should replace the statues with speakers. Or maybe we should, we could incorporate some bass speakers into some nice heavy statues of Tony Allen and other superstars of sound. Yes, Dr. Deej, a Benjamin Zephaniah statue would be pretty nice as well. But yes, not necessarily would be into it. I think he turned down his OB, didn't he, for Empire allergy reactions. What else we got on the agenda here? A bit brutal doing the rewind sometimes, but can only do so much. Have a quick look at this. This was a nice article. More than 300 British Olympians and Paralympians have called on the government to take urgent action on climate change in the wake of COVID. Paola Radcliffe, Samo Farah and Sir Steve Redgrave are among the champions who put their names to a letter to Boris Johnson, urging a truly green recovery, truly green approach to the recovery from the pandemic. The letter was written by GB rowing team member and environmental lawyer Melissa Wilson on behalf of Champions for Earth, a group of athletes aiming to use the power of sport to tackle the climate and nature crisis. Right on, you champions. See, there's plenty of good action going on, plenty of people working for benefit. You just won't hear about it on the mainstream or right-wing dominated media too much. What's this article? Okay, yeah, quick petition of the week, people. If you want to click on something good, put your name to something good. This is a good one. Callum will post in the link to this, please, mate. Bank of England, stop funding the climate crisis. I read an article about this today, and despite was it Mark Carney, the former governor, made some pretty good statements about prioritising the environment. Still, the Bank of England is putting billions, big style money into fossil fuel companies. That's, that is our money basically, and in any case, it's wrong. And as Boris Johnson's dad said to me when we interviewed him at Fridays for Future last year, investing in fossil fuel companies is a bad idea because their assets are stranded and they're going nowhere. So for all reasons, business and environment, I think investing in fossil fuels has got to end. I would definitely withdraw my taxes. Not pay taxes. Don't pay taxes. On that basis. Okay, where should we go with this? Could play that. Probably should play this actually. Okay. Now this has been quite talked about. I was going to play this last week, but we're not too behind the curve. Check out The Social Dilemma.
When you go to Google and type in climate change is, you're going to see different results depending on where you live and the particular things that Google knows about your interests.
That's not by accident, that's a design technique. What I want people to know is that everything they're doing online is being watched, is being tracked. Every single action you take is carefully monitored and recorded.
A lot of people think Google's just a search box and Facebook's just a place to see what my friends are doing. What they don't realize is there's entire teams of engineers whose job is to use your psychology against you.
I was the co-inventor of the Facebook like button.
I was the president of Pinterest,
Google, Twitter, Instagram.
There were meaningful changes happening around the world because of these platforms. I think we were naive about the flip side of that coin.
We get rewarded by hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value and we conflate it with truth.
A whole generation is more anxious, more depressed.
I always felt like fundamentally it was a force for good. I don't know if I feel that way anymore.
Facebook discovered that they were able to affect real-world behavior and emotions without ever triggering the user's awareness. They are completely clueless.
Fake news spreads 6 times faster than true news. We're being bombarded with rumors.
If everyone's entitled to their own facts, there's really no need for people to come together. In fact, there's really no need for people to interact.
We have less control over who we are and what we really believe.
If you want to control the population of your country, there has never been a tool as effective as Facebook.
We built these things and we have a responsibility to change it. The intention could be, how do we make the world better? If technology creates mass chaos, loneliness, more polarization, more election hacking, more inability to focus on the real issues, we're toast.
This is checkmate on humanity.
Yeah, I think probably pretty essential viewing that, even if we might feel we know quite a lot of it already. Mixmaster's joined me. I'm going to just play a little bit more music and then...
Oh, I'm using this, aren't I?
Yeah, but it will pick it up. This is muted at the moment. Okay. Okay, let's just... Morris can quickly say hello. Where's our little cam? Yay, here we are. Okay, very soon, Mixmaster Morris is going to join me for a good extensive session of chat and music very shortly. Just going to have another jam, just warming up, getting things ready. Here we go. Mighty Mark says the internet is the new panopticon. You're not wrong, I think, mate. Jarmon saying hi, Mixmaster. Also Rob Wood. Andre Goring, thanks for signing and sharing that. Paul Reynolds. Not sure what you mean there, mate. Maybe you can explain if you've taken issue with something we said. It's quite interesting to get the feedback of what the audience are on about, where you're all at. We can't all agree on everything, for sure. Funk saw Mixmaster at Deckmantle last year. Bag Mag Tag, thanks for signing there, mate. Yeah, Low Tang. Akosi is great, isn't it? Axel Stortzner enjoying the session. Good to have you here, mate. Let's take it somewhere else. Slurping out into the sounds of Faulty DL. This is called 9 Ninja Tunes. And right next, I know what we'll do. We'll play a little bit of Mr. Goldsworthy, and then we'll get into some Mixmaster. This is where my computer starts to complain a little bit when I've got too much running on it. Let's see if it can handle some Resolute. Turn on link. Mix over. Yeah. getting warmed up. And what we'll do is we'll have one little video clip more. Exploring the artwork. Shout out if you know Andy Goldsworthy, people. I've known his work for a few years, incredible land art. And okay, Paul Reynolds, thank you. I thought I'd made a mistake there. So you point out a link to the film trailer and the like button being used to manipulate. Well, you know, I got to say, I do use Netflix, and there's quite some good stuff on it, and it's kind of a channel where stuff can get out. Not anything can come out, but it's opened things up, as has social media. We mustn't just sit on here, people talking about the left wing, for want of a better word. I've got to just I'm just going to play this one clip, and the left wing must give up the soggy teddy bear of despair and get a bit happier. Okay, let us check out Mr. Andy Goldsworthy, and then we're going to be right back with Mixmaster. Look at this. Now is actually now is always the time when it says.
Yeah, and you get your birthday reminders.
No, it wants to restart my computer. Okay, Andy Goldsworthy, check it out.
Somebody said on Twitter, how is it that Netflix can pay billions of pounds for content and Spotify?
There are a lot of contradictions in what I make, in a sense, and I quite...
Fair comment.
I'm still just trying to make sense of the world.
Interesting music, this, because the music on the film is actually fully ambient, but this shows electronic music can work.
You can walk on the path, or you can walk through the hedge. Two different ways of looking at the world. And I think that's the beauty of art, that it just makes you step aside off the normal way of walking or looking. People think that perhaps I should have this such a deep understanding of nature that I just somehow float and glide through it effortlessly. Well, it's not like that, and I fall a lot.
Okay, Andy Goldsworthy, Leaning into the Wind. Watched that last night. Good recommendation for my sister there, and I heartily recommend there. And this is Mixmaster Morris, and this is myself, Matt Black. This is Wednesday Night Pirate TV, and we haven't had any guests. You're the very first guest, Morris.
I'm honoured.
And, well, probably he needs no introduction, so I'll just take it for granted that you know he is an absolute don, an incredible international diplomat of all that is good in music and beyond, my favourite DJ in the whole world. And we're going to first play some music of The Irresistible Force, right? And I'm going to do some VJing. So we're going to have a nice chill session, and later on we'll chat, and should be hopefully stuff you'll be interested in. So let us, without further ado, swap over to Resolume and.
Can't mix though, because just playing off iTunes.
Sure, we're just playing off iTunes, but we'll here we go. You can introduce us if you like, Morris. What is this?
This is Symphony in E. Sorry. This is Symphony in E from the album Flying High.
You need to hold that.
Which I did in 1992. Gosh.
Let's just do another mic check, mate.
1, 2.
Ah, I know why. It's because we've not got it on the
When Miss
monitor.
Boating plays her music, I want
Yeah.
us all to get up onto our
So they heard it.
toes, light as feathers, and dance away all over the room wherever the music takes us.
This is from Morris's debut album, Flying High. Not really available anywhere.
Just about to be reissued on a wonderful label from Switzerland. I have to think about it. WRWTFWW Records.
Which stands for?
We release whatever the fuck we want.
Great. Re-release whatever the fuck we want. We're going to be reissuing Morris's classic material.
And not being on the BBC, we can say that word and not get into trouble.
Because Alistair Massingham, can it be that you haven't heard of Morris? Check out a quick search. Records as The Irresistible Force. And a very good friend of mine and a big musical inspiration for Cold Cut. The guy who introduced Strictly Kev to Ninja Tune from Telepathic Fish. A super connector, I think.
Super spreader.
Okay, I'm going to do a bit of video mixing. Some nice comments here, mate. Nice one, Astro Raff. That sounds like a good trip, as we say.
That was a great show.
Do you remember that gig?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Speak into the mic, is it?
Yeah, I remember that Fifth Planetarium gig. That was pretty wonderful. We turned up in Boulder, and we were thinking you definitely can't smoke in a planetarium, but we were wrong. And they brought out the professor of astrophysics, and she was a woman with long hair and a Grateful Dead T-shirt. And the big sign said Friday Pink Floyd and Laser Show, Saturday Jean-Michel Jarre Show, and Sunday Mixmaster Morris. And I thought this is going to be a nice gig. And they had reclining chairs so as you could look at the stars. In fact, I've only done planetarium 3 times, and that was probably the best one. I did one in Germany last year.
We're just getting some feedback here from Dinars. I'm just going to mute our mics for a sec. That was my fault, actually, Morris. But if we keep an eye on this level, because we're not hearing you in the monitor, I turned it up too loud,
Yeah, cool.
but you're there.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't go into the red. Yes, okay, thank you, Adrian Taylor. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Keep giving us that feedback, because it is quite difficult to monitor this sometimes, but I think we've got a handle on it now. Thank you also, Rob Wood, for the feedback. Yeah, we got it. Blame me, not Morris. I'm struggling to accommodate it. Normally it's all about me, this show.
Just fade it, change the track. What can we put on?
What's so next?
Oh, maybe this one. It's even earlier.
Okay, give me some warning and then I'll try and get something different on the visuals. What's this?
This is a track I did with the Shaman in 91 with Steve Hillage playing guitar. And it was kind of one of the earliest ambient tracks I did, Scientas.
I'd never heard this, you know, mate.
It's on the Shaman album. It's on Boss Drum. It's on Boss Drum.
It's on the Shaman's album?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Didn't get paid for it, needless to say.
What percentage of gigs do you think you've got paid for? Firstly, how many gigs do you think you've done in your career? That's a tough one.
Oh, I got paid for most of the gigs. Something.
Good. How many gigs do you think you've done? Firstly, when did you start DJing?
Started DJing in 82, but only at college. And then I did private parties in the late 80s. And I didn't get a lot of gigs until I joined the Shaman. And then we were touring endlessly. So I did hundreds of gigs with the Shaman and I sharpened up my skills a lot. But it's a really good question. In the 90s I was doing 100 a year or more, 150 a year, stuff like that. But can't quite keep up that level of intensive gigging. But probably in the 90s I must have done 1,500. Because sometimes I'd do 2 a night as well.
And they're not 1 hour sets, are they? I mean, you're legendary for your...
Yeah, that would be typically like 3 or 4 hours at one and then more at the next one. And often an after party, you don't even count that. But in Japan alone, I've done probably about 1,000 gigs in Japan. It's quite sobering. And it's always a delight to do anything in Japan, but especially gigs. You're surrounded by sound technicians who want to get everything perfect.
Yeah.
Probably a 15th generation sound technician.
Yeah, my experience with Japan was that they work quite hard, but everyone's really into it, and they go absolutely the extra mile. They work really hard.
Perfectionist.
Perfectionist and make it the best experience, which is a good attitude. Big up to Motus Lumina. We've got these Vuo, check out Vuo, Matt and Pete, Elastic, I bet you know what I mean. New way to build video synthesizers. It's a long time since I DJed with you.
Madrid.
The last one?
The last one I can remember.
It was a great gig with Blanca, and we had like a...
Oh, the brewery.
Enormous, like 10-litre screen.
The Goodness Brewery.
Oh yeah. Good old Mike Goodness.
I went to sleep during your set and then bounded away with mine. But Madrid was great.
Yeah, that was really good.
Really huge screen. And really good tapas as well.
I'm really muffled, am I? Okay, because my mic's falling off. That should be better. Should be better. Okay.
Okay, let's play something different. Maybe play one that they don't know. This is the remix I did for Blue Tech, which came out earlier this year. You know Blue Tech? He's a Canadian Sybient artist, I think is the word.
Sybient, that's a new one. Path Daddy says, Morris, do you remember being able to buy Irresistible Force t-shirts from HMV back in the 90s?
Yeah, well actually I think they're back in print. I think Rising High are still doing, I think they're for iAmbient t-shirts. Because they sent me a couple of new ones, so.
But I thought Rising High were like fully defunct.
Rising High started again in some form with Casper's daughter. is part of it, and that guy Rob Allison, you know.
Okay.
Good luck to it. But they're not doing Flying High again. I'm going to take that to another record.
Yeah, I think those classic albums should return to you for sure. So who was it who made The Hypnotist, Sister Love then?
That's Casper.
It was Casper. Yeah.
No. Sister Love the Hypnotist is a totally different guy. Is it Martin Franklin? It's somebody that we both know. It was like a minor ninja face at one point. Did a record. And he confessed to me online, but I've now forgotten who it was.
But you see there's lots of...
Yeah, I'm not going to say it because I'm not sure. Yeah.
Hi there, Michael Klassen, loyal listener. Ontario in the house again. Mathieu Jarman, I'm not sure which track you meant. Say again what this one is, please, Morris.
This is my remix of Blue Tech Tranquility Gate.
Tranquility Gate, Irresistible Force remix.
It's on the album Liquid Geometries in Dub.
Hey, there we go.
And Blue Tech just had a top 10 this album, the original, was in the top 10 of American electronica chart and did very well for a tiny label. All the big labels are going, what's going on here? And he actually turned down the first mix that I did, so I was a bit disappointed, so I did another one. He likes it now.
Cheeky. Oh, that's a good clip, isn't it? Hey Nikolai, thanks for these clips this week. By the way, if I had an HMV shirt, I'd give it to you right away. I'll send you an ambient virtual one. Now, Raver Bill is a sharer, which is a good thing. Says, can tell us anything about Fantasia New Year's Eve in Southern California,
I certainly can.
1994. Tell us.
Well, it was a huge rave in San Bernardino, and it was on, the Orange County ground or something, where they do fruit fairs, agricultural fairs. So it's massive sites with big warehouses, and there was about 5 stages, and Moby played inside. I remember seeing that, all the corrugated iron is rattling with Moby doing his 1,000 beats per minute track. But I was playing outside, and I had to go on exactly at midnight. And to start with, someone came on 1 minute before midnight and said Happy New Year, and everyone was very confused, so they hadn't had a countdown yet. And then he did a speech, and all these drag queens came on stage. And I thought, this is going to be trouble. So as soon as I put the first record on, all the drag queens are stomping in like high-heeled boots. And all the records just jumping, and it was completely hopeless. So, have you ever tried to get drag queens off a stage when they're off the face and they're under the spotlight? You can't. So I push a couple off the stage, and then they just come back up the staircase and be back on the stage. So it was a futile task, like the Augean stables.
I bet it looked good for the audience.
There is video of this. You can watch this on YouTube. Yeah, it was pretty chaotic for the first 20 minutes, but then I played like really weird techno, and looking back at the film, it's all like Latino hard nut kids, and their brains are kind of boggling out on me playing things like Titon Ton Duvante and Black Dog tracks and things, so it was stuff that I was not familiar with. But I miss those old days, the 90s, when you could just play whatever you liked. You didn't have to worry about if it was being promoed, or if it was in the charts, or if it was on Beatport. You know, the DJs actually chose the records. And nowadays, like, I hate to say it, but a lot of DJs sound the same. And there was much more variety.
My recollection is there's always a herd mentality, and it's not necessarily anything.
There was more weirdness.
When?
25 years ago.
Honestly, by the early 90s, for me, the house music had already been heavily commodified. And
but I'm not necessarily talking about
generic. Well, that became the sort of de facto menu everywhere.
But after leaving the Shaman, I was on Rising High. That's a techno label. Rising High was never a house music label, apart from, you know, RHC and a few things. So I would be playing at things like the Love Parade in Berlin, and, you know, that wasn't a house music event either, that was a techno event. And all the weirdness came out of the techno scene, where they weren't constrained by house and disco and vocals and things like that. And German electronic music is a lot deeper than British in a lot of ways, because it doesn't depend on songs and vocals. And, you know, you must have noticed how much software and hardware comes from Germany nowadays.
Yeah, they do kind of run the electronic music.
And they do have this history that goes back through Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream and Konrad Schnitzler.
Next track, mate.
Next track indeed. How about the... This is Music City. I was commissioned to do a track for an office building in the city of London. And it's called the Ham Building, because it looks like a tin of ham. I'm ashamed I can't remember the address. 40-something square. It's right by the Gherkin.
Your memory's pretty good.
Yeah,
my rating, mate.
40 St Anne's Square, something like that.
Check out that there's some nice, interesting comments here. Raver Bill was on production in the house room that night, and a single feather says, "I came out from the house pavilion to hear you. You killed it that night." Yeah, people actually remember these particular.
Is
nights.
this Plantasia?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've still got flyers from that one, oddly enough.
Well, I know you should digitise all those
I've
flyers.
got another anecdote.
Yeah, go for
is
it.
There was a group of people climbed over the wall halfway through the party, and they were in another compound. They were Alcoholics Anonymous 7-step program, and they were celebrating being clean for a year, but they just couldn't stand, you know, all the misbehaving going on over the wall, so they were all breaking into our party to get high. Yeah, I miss California in the 90s. We used to go and do great parties in the desert, a long way from the cops.
Have you played at Burning Man?
I've never played at Burning Man.
Jonah's been quite a few times. People with Jonah Sharp for the electronic artist, well, he's UK actually, but he's been based in the States for a while.
I've been invited about 5 times, but it always seems to be very expensive to play there.
Yeah, well, Jonah told me that he just went and stepped under a truck and did it hardcore, which was pretty amazing. When Denny and I went in 2012, I think it was.
I'm not going without AC and a shower.
Yeah, well, we did have actually, I've got to admit, a decent trailer which was set up, and that was pretty okay.
If I go, I'm going in Wayne's bus.
Who's Wayne?
Wayne is a guy who used to work for Apple and sold out at the height of the dot-com boom and lives happily ever after with his bus, which he bought from the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
And he's like a regular at Burning Man. But I think a lot of the old-timers are very fed up with it because they don't get reserved tickets anymore. All the tickets go to the tech bros, and the guys who are the old-timers have to join the queue with everybody else. So those guys call it Boring Man now. I think actually Wayne didn't go the last time. A couple of years ago they got flooded on the Burning Man site, which is the last thing you expect in the desert. So they all went to a lake instead. And they were having
Pyramid Lake, I think.
Right, they were having such a good time at Pyramid Lake they didn't want to go into the desert after that. But they were scaring away the families who were doing fishing trips. Suddenly 10,000 freaks descend on your favourite lake.
It's a nice spot. Pyramid Lake. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Right.
What's this track then?
This is the one I did for the office building.
Okay, what's it called?
Music City.
Now where can...
You can't buy this one.
You can't. Rare groove, eh?
You can only hear it in the office building. I'm going to put this on my Bandcamp actually.
So, what's Bandcamp? Irresistible Force?
Yeah. Darren has actually set up my Bandcamp for me.
Darren Sangita,
yeah.
Good mate of ours. Big boost to many of us, and always inspiring us to push it out there, and not hide the light under the bushel. Techno all night long, Andrea, I don't know about that. I was going to pick you up on that actually, because to me, and this will no doubt piss people off, in a way, if it's got a 4 on the floor kick and it's like 120 to 140 BPM, I call it house. It doesn't matter whether it's house or techno, you get tech house, and to me there's never been a sharp cut-off between them. Do you want to comment on that point of view?
Who, me?
Yeah, is it fair?
Well, house music kind of became meaningless by the mid-90s because every kind of dance music was called house music.
Yeah,
but now it's the word rave that's become meaningless because, you know, Taylor Swift is rave now, so it's not underground anymore. Pop music is rave music.
I don't think rave's been underground for a couple of decades, really.
The great thing about 25 years ago was the last thing you would ever hear was pop music. The whole thing was created from the underground up, and so pop music was the last thing on the agenda. And now if you go to Ibiza, you hear chart music all the time. So perhaps kids think that's what it is.
That's hardly a recent development. It's always been like that. This battle between the underground and the overground. The underground doesn't even have a meaning without the overground.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was entirely underground, so all the music you're hearing was underground, and now it's the opposite. And
but when do you feel this change took place? To me, this is a dynamic that's, as I say, been going on for at least since the late 80s.
I think
Summer
it
of Love.
Started 95.
And actually, it's been going on since morning, you know, from time, because there's always been commodification and popularisation. What starts up, the underground ferments, it comes up with new ideas.
Yeah,
and
for the first 7 years we managed to keep the major labels at bay, and that was the glory time.
To like the mid-90s, you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
and to a small extent, Indie Tune is still doing its bit, and showing the majors that you can take a few more risks, and is even, you know, getting respect from the likes of Pete Tong now. True facts.
Yeah, sure. But you do get eventually some respect just for having stuck around for such a long time. Let's have a look what these Ruffra says. Your remix of the Higher Intelligence Agency Speed Learn is absolute gold, one of my cherished records. You got that in your selection? I'm not sure I know that.
I don't think I know. I do have.
I think we should. Yeah, let's play it. Special request, Ruffra, not something that we do very often. Here is Irresistible Force.
I've not heard this for ages.
Higher Intelligence Agency Speed Learn,
which is Bobby Bird from Birmingham,
and
a club called Oscillate,
and Magda.
Yeah,
I saw them in recent history, in recent memory, where it's some crazy alternative party. Where was it? Maybe in Leicester. I don't know how your memory of gigs is so good, seeing as you've done like tons more than me, and we're probably a lot more active.
I'll tell you remember it more if you've got photographs and the flyer and a recording of the gig. That's what seals the memories in.
Right.
And I look at some posters for gigs and think, just can't remember that. So it's probably a good one.
That's what they say about the 60s. If you can remember it, you weren't there. Well, I was only like 4 years old, so I definitely don't remember it.
But in fact, in the early days of raves, I didn't take many drugs because I had a lot of equipment to carry.
Thank you, Adrian Taylor, for pulling us back on track there. Old men talking about what's techno, sounds like my front room. Okay, moving swiftly on. Let's have a look at...
There's a lovely cartoon that I posted of old men sitting in wheelchairs and their speech balloons are saying, Auteca, square pussy.
It's us.
Porto Canada.
Yeah, Space-Time Continuum, that's right, guys. That is Jonah Sharp. Sort of have heard him described as the American Morris.
Oh, good friend of mine for 30 years, Jonah.
Yeah.
We've done an album together that's never actually been released, that might actually come out one day.
Where's that then?
Some of that's on here as well. It's
Really?
the one that Ninja turned down in 2001.
Nothing to do with me. Why don't you, look, we can give people some exclusives here, saying something, you're going to hear something that you actually can't hear anywhere else.
Oh, I was going to do that anyway, but I wasn't with those, but I could put one on certainly, yeah. After this.
It all sounds good, mate. I love your music. And I've done it for a long time.
I definitely think we could resuscitate that album.
Facebook stream just froze, someone just said. What's going on there? It looks to be live. Maybe not. Callum, can you get on that, mate? Oh, don't say they're busting us for the Higher Intelligence Agency. I think it's a fine turn of affairs when you can't play your own tracks. Is this Higher Intelligence Agency?
This is Higher Intelligence Agency. I'm trying to think what label it was. What was the label? The album was colourful. There was some Birmingham indie label.
Dr. Akel saying the 90s had the greatest variety in sounds and freestyle mixes.
And we had the chill out room.
Well, yes. Chill out room.
Something sadly lacking.
Well, there was a point, wasn't there, when the government got so much, got so paranoid about people ODing from ecstasy. Didn't really happen that much, in fact. But they passed a law saying there had to be a chill out room. Remember that?
I don't remember that. Sure it's right, but I would support that motion. That was the first time I agreed with the government about anything. They did suggest that they would have a 5-minute break from the beats and have 5 minutes of ambient every hour in the main room. I don't think it was ever legally imposed, but it just shows how completely clueless they were really. But Andy Weatherall fought a great campaign against DJs playing everything at +8. He used to do nights with a road sign with a speed limit, like 118. And if you went above that, it'd kick you off.
I did quite a lot of nights with him, Andy Weatherall, at Sabre Sonic.
Oh yeah.
I was the VJ there.
The London Bridge?
Yeah, that was pretty underground. He sadly missed. Oh, I see.
There's some speculation about whether he had COVID.
Hey, Adrian Taylor. Field parties are top end. I'm still in touch with Marcus and Mark and Paul. Glad you're liking the show. And Jude Greenaway, yeah, that Irresistible remix, Irresistible Force remix of Autumn Leaves is still a classic, if I say so myself. That was when we were on Arista and they said, look, we don't think this is going to work, this track. We think we want to do a house remix of it. Speed it up to 120 BPM. I said, over my dead body. Let's get Morris in to remix it and we'll play out another track with a house beat. So we did. And the house track was alright. That was called Leaving Home, but it was the Autumn Leaves one which was swiftly canonised. Even Norman Cook, I think, said it's his favourite ever ambient track.
Favourite ever anything track, actually. And that was on TV, so you can check that one, yeah.
Good old Norman. We toured our first visit to Japan. We were with Norman Cook.
Right. I knew him in the 80s as well, when he'd just done Beats International. Right. He used to come around my house for dinner because he was absolutely broke. Because he had to pay out on the 2 samples on that track, so the more copies they sold, the more money he lost. And he went to #1 and cleaned them out completely.
From
Beats Don't Be Good To Me.
Don't Be Good To Me? What,
yeah.
From the SOS band?
SOS band and The Clash.
Yeah, right. So you're going to ending up paying out more than 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
More than 100%. Royalties. That's going to hurt. Let's get the number.
He can afford to buy dinner next time then.
Yeah, you hear that, Norman? Get in touch. I remember his first record actually, which was called The Finest Ingredients, which was like a sort of Say Kids style cut-up record. It was actually really good. The Finest Ingredients.
Well, the House
right
Martins
here
was
in
his
the mix.
first. The House Martins was his first record.
Yeah,
really.
first sort of foray into DJ culture and cut-up.
There's a House Martins movie, and the band are on the tour bus, and Norman is sitting at the back with a pair of decks trying to learn how to mix. It's quite interesting.
Switch over these.
I must say, the last time I saw him play, he made me cry.
With pain.
With pain. But, well, to be honest, I got poked in the eye in the middle of it, so that made me cry with pain. I was helping a girl take her tent down, and she had flexible tent poles, and one of them just went pyong, hit me right in the eye. I really thought I'd been blinded. The music didn't help.
Electro obviously said Andy Weatherall's night with the speed limit was called Love from Outer Space.
Yeah.
We hosted them at Wang on New Year's Eve in 2010. We just posted Andy's mix. We gave away the night on Mixcloud. Nice one, Electro Elvis. I'll be tuning into that. We sampled the SOS band actually for a track called Dreamer. And we did a deal with them, and they ended up getting, I think, Baby, lay your head down on the chest, Dreamer. See, that was why it was cool to put acapellas on tracks. Put an acapella on the 12-inch, and then people would start mixing up and doing stuff with it.
Theftapella. I remember the Theftapella.
That was us. Yes, indeed. But
So
actually,
good
you know
question.
what? Putting the acapella on People Hold On was the smartest business move Coldcut ever did. Because it's been sampled on about 50 tracks or something.
Absolutely.
And whenever one of them's a hit, we get a little bit of money from it. So that was good. But John and I always liked records with acapellas on 12-inch with acapellas.
That's
why
what I
we
was
did
going to
it.
ask.
That's why we did it.
What was the very first record with an acapella on? Because I think it's either Walking on Sunshine, Walker's Revenge, or Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, which are both 82. I'm not sure which is first, or if there is anything earlier.
Okay, we'll throw that one out to the community, I think.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's time. I'm just going to say this before I forget. Where is my man P.D. Moore? Paul Moore is the winner of last week's competition. Very swift off the button. He correctly identified Skip McDonald, Keith LeBlanc and Doug Wimbush as the Tackhead crew, and Adrian Sherwood's sort of house band. And you are going to win.
So strong.
I used to go and see Tackhead
a nice
a lot.
copy of this Cold Cut on You Sound outside the Echo Chamber. That is our prize from last week's competition. And yeah, we can we'll throw this one out to the community. Morris has just asked, what was the first vinyl with an acapella included on it? Now this may be debatable, but I think if anyone wants to get into it,
Has to be a separate mix from the...
has to be a separate mix, a separate track, acapella track, and send your thoughts into jampro1000@gmail.com, or if you really know, you can post it in the chat now, and that'll be our competition for the week, and we'll think up some groovy prize. Maybe you got any spares of flyers or something that we can give out as a prize? We'll think of something nice.
Yeah, I certainly have.
Think of something nice.
Some Fantasia flyers.
We've got some Fantasia flyers. I'm sure that would go down really well with the crew.
They're probably worth $100 now.
All right, okay. Yeah, thank you, Callum, for posting that. What was the first vinyl with an acapella included as a separate mix on it? Morris has already, if you're paying close attention, as you should be, mentioned a couple of the possibilities. But in fact,
I genuinely don't know if there's an earlier one.
Yeah, we'll decide. I think put your suggestions in, okay?
One of
loves wax.
One of those two had a sound effects track with all the sound effects in, and that was like a mind blower in the early 80s. Before your theft appellate, by about 6 years.
Fair enough. Well, actually, that brings me to. I mean, we could go on all night here, right? Because you and I were watching that 10cc, those Godly and Creme videos just the other night.
Godlike, yeah.
Absolutely godlike.
Godlike
in terms
and
of audio-visual innovation. I mean,
the video we're talking about is the one called Mondo Video 2.
Yeah, Mondo Video 2. Yeah. Well, the Mondo Video, if you search that on YouTube, Godly and Creme. Yeah, well, I'm gonna download that shit and play it on the show because actually, I'm ashamed to say I hadn't really watched it before.
It's lol cream, isn't it? I wonder if he could work with the egg and then it would be. That'd be good collaboration. Cream egg, the album.
And
on the Cadbury's label.
Sorry, kill the audio. So remind us what this one is.
This is from my last album, Kira Kira, which is on Youth's label Liquid Sound Design, or LSD for short.
10 million times stronger.
So Kira Kira, and is that...
and the track's called Magic Acid.
Magic Acid. So it's on Bandcamp?
It is definitely on Bandcamp. On the Liquid Sound Design Bandcamp page.
Electro.
And it'll be on vinyl soon.
Oh really? It's going to be a vinyl press.
It's going to be on vinyl and there is remixes on the way.
We press What the Fuck We Want?
No, this is on Liquid Sound Design.
Okay, glad to hear it. So that must mean that Youth realises there's a demand for it. It's sold pretty well. It's a great record,
It
guys.
sold very
Check
well.
it out.
Joe Muggs was just bigging it up. Probably sold a lot more this week.
And your Bandcamp, did we say? Bandcamp.the Irresistible Force?
I think so, yeah.
Callum, perhaps if you could look that up, it might be, is it The Irresistible Force or just The Irresistible Force?
I cannot positively answer.
Okay, my man will check it out. A Single Feather. Youth is a good mate of mine actually. Morris and me and him do lots of stuff. He's also a super connector of people, apart from being an absolute don of a producer.
That's true. Took Madonna to her first hip-hop party.
A font of information, Morris. That's a pretty good one. Are you sure that's correct?
He swears that's true. He did live in New York in the early 80s and was hanging out with Bambaataa and people, so he's always where the action is.
Negative 23.
So Alamondus Funk has posted up the link to the Liquid Sound Design Bandcamp album, Kira Kira. Okay, what are you going to bust us now?
Well, if you wanted to hear something from the album with Jonah, then I'll just see what we've got.
Show my Adult Swim logos. Quick scale. Here we go.
Here's a track I did after It's Tomorrow Already. I did it all on my own, and this has never come out, so this was going to be on the fourth album. I wanted to call it Irresistible Fourth.
Nice. We were thinking of calling Cold Cut's Greatest Hits Gold Cut.
Robert Wyatt has an album, His Greatest Misses.
We were thinking of calling our next record Greatest Dance Hits of the Year mixed by top DJs.
I love the Throbbing Gristle album that's called 20 Jazz Funk Greats.
Yeah, that is.
It's not even got 20 tracks on it. They were trying to get a record deal with Ronco, and they almost got away with it. That's why they had that nice picture taken on Beachy Head. Perhaps we should say R.I.P. Genesis P-Orridge.
We could play some... we'll probably get busted for that, actually. We need something a bit more obscure. Yeah, R.I.P. Genesis P-Orridge. Throbbing Gristle, Psychic TV.
Yeah,
Jonathan Moore, my partner, is a big fan and went to see him in the old days. He's got some wicked posters in the studio from Throbbing Gristle. Hey, Icarus Redux says, hi, voice former intern at the Ninja Tune LA office in 2014. Jeremy the Jamie Scadden, Jamie Consigliere. Huge fan. Nick to Beats and Pieces 20th anniversary t-shirt on my way out. Well done, mate. We don't grudge you that. Ernesto reckons that Dr. Love first choice. I mean, I think Sal Soul could be a contender. That predates All Rockers Revenge and Last Night a DJ Saved My Life.
Did they have acapellas?
We'll have to look it up, won't we? Ernesto, you need to document your proof there, mate. Send it in. And it sounds plausible, but we need a bit more. Yeah, Discogs has got release dates. I mean, really, peeps, you're getting a big treat here. This is like Morris's rare tracks. Even I haven't heard some of these.
No, at least you won't get copyright infringement.
Exactly. No takedowns for this because it's purely unreleased. Exclusive. Pirate TV, Wednesday night. Mixmaster Morris, my special guest. The one and only Mixmaster. Knows more about music than...
I did pillage some samples off this album, so they're on Kira Kira now. So I would have to cut them out.
Well, this is one of the things we found out, people, if you're out there making music, it's cool, put in whatever you like, sample whatever the fuck you like, just have fun with it. But if you release it, and it gets, basically the only way you make any money nowadays is if you get picked up for an advert or a sync license, as it's called. Advert, TV, film or game, right?
Let that sink in.
Let that sink in, and don't be like Mr. Scruff, who would get a move on.
Ouch.
Ended up giving quite a lot of money, as in 100% of it, to the big record companies who owned the rights to the samples that he built it from.
And it's not like Moondog got any of the money.
Exactly. The original artists don't usually own any of the money. That story has a partly happy ending though, because afterwards we negotiated with the rights holders and we came to a sort of equitable deal with them, so everyone was happy.
I think they should do a Moondog remix by Mr. Scruffle.
Yeah.
That'd be wicked.
Yeah, we were listening to a lot of Moondog the other day.
There's a fantastic picture of him going around. And he's wearing his Viking helmet and wearing like animal skins and carrying a big sword. And he's walking around Manhattan in the 1950s and everyone else is in suits and ties and they're all looking at him. all eyes are on this huge Viking.
What a don.
He was blind as well, is that right?
I don't know.
I'm not even sure. I think possibly he was.
I don't start on the Stevie.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Don't. By the way, people, don't promote fake news. Or if you hear that Stevie Wonder is not blind, just say, "What the fuck? Who gives a fuck?" Don't. Who gives a fuck, basically?
Oh well, I'll tell you after the show.
Well, you have proof.
Stevie Wonder himself said that he wasn't 100% blind.
Okay. DJ Fack has got a nice memory here. Says, I remember standing next to you, Morris, at the Big Chill. You were in your silver suit holding a fish in a plate, which I think you said you got from Japan. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, it was the eye fish. Yes, I still have that.
Next track, please, mate.
It was definitely a fish.
What I like to do with that is put it in my mouth.
I think we could
play something different.
Sandeep says, the Soul Survivor says, I think Moondog was deaf. Well, this is something that we can Google, or you party people out there can.
I think he's deaf. Even more amazing.
DJ Fack says he didn't mean Morris wore a fish. He was holding a fish.
I know what fish it was.
Yeah.
It was a toy fish that has sound. It picks up the sound. It was one generation up from those happy flowers that danced. So as soon as it heard a beat, it would start to dance with the beat and flash lights at you.
No, that was that. What was it called? That the bass fish.
Saul Bass.
That's right.
I just saw one of those the other day. I've forgotten what they've got it adapted for. People have hacked those like Furbies.
Yeah.
And got them to be clocked. I think the original one was a clock. Is that right? I think initially it was
just
a clock.
sort of. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so the peeps have responded. Pete Elastic Eyes sent a link to the story of Moondog, Blind Poet, Viking Vagabond, Genius Composer.
There you go.
It's official. And Friends with Birds, says Steve Fly. Teleporter wants to know if you've still got those silver sequin pants from years ago.
I haven't. No. Holograms, the problem is you can't wash them. After a few washes, all the hologram dissolves. So I haven't got any 20-year-old hologram clothes because they would only have survived if I hadn't washed them for years on end. And then they're also quite smelly because they're plastic and they don't have any holes in them, so they don't breathe like normal fabric. So no, they don't last very long. But I am going to get some new ones from Richard Sharp when next time I connect with him. I think actually he's made me a cape, which I was supposed to have in time for last year's Glastonbury.
I remember doing a gig with him in Thailand. He was there at that gig that Handel organised.
That's right, near Terek.
And he mic'd up his sewing machine. He was playing rhythms off that. That was
see, I'd forgotten about that.
And Kudo got pissed off with me because I played James Brown and all the people left his arena and came tonight.
That was a very epic event though. We saw a truck full of soldiers coming and I started to get nervous. And then the promoter just laughed and said, no, that's my security. I hired them.
I had my first ever Thai massage at that party. That was Handa took us all on the first night, do you remember? First night
yes.
we were in Chiang Mai.
Prince from the royal family turned up to the party. This is the best part. Did you come to the next day's party?
Yes.
The Prince came and said, this party is really great, I love the music. Tomorrow night, come and do this again in my house. And he went away and he came back and says, that's the palace, yes? You understand? And so the next night we went to the palace and we set up all the equipment and we did the whole gig again just for the Prince. And he got roaring drunk and just in the middle of my set he taps me on the shoulder and says, now is my turn. And he's the Prince, he can do what he likes, you know. I thought he wanted to DJ, but he wanted to sing karaoke. So they put on Bad Moon Rising by Queen's Clearwater Revival, and he sang that. Which is a very specific date, about 1970, it must have been when he lived in Germany. So apparently this guy was a taxi driver in Germany, and he made enough money to buy a taxi and drive it back to Thailand, which must have taken a while. And this is often, and then he picked up the princess one day and she fell in love with him. And now he's a prince, so that's a happy ending story. And this current king, I thought it might be our prince, but it's not. But they were both on the sauce, let's just say. And I wonder where the princess was, and she was in fact cooking our dinner. The princess was actually making Thai sausages and putting them on the grill. Although she's actually the noble one, and we just married into the family. Thailand is ripe for...
But I remember that after that we stayed in Chiang Mai for a couple of weeks, and then we went down to Koh Samui with Jonah Sharp and Billy.
Yeah, and I left you behind after a day and went to Koh Tao.
You went to Koh Tao with John Reynolds to learn to scuba dive. Have you done it? And you did it. You got your qualification.
I got my PADI license.
Yeah.
And I've been scuba diving in Japan quite a lot since, but not for the last 8 years or so. But if I go to Corfu, I'm thinking that's also a good place to scuba dive. Plenty of wrecks. I don't have a wreck diving license though, unfortunately. Right. Wreck diving, night diving, and cave diving.
Wreck was an acronym when you were using it.
No, literally wreck diving, yeah. In Okinawa, you can see the entire Japanese fleet scuttled at the bottom of the sea, all in a row. And it's only like 20 metres down, so you don't need a special license to see it. And that's pretty spectacular. And my instructor banged on a shell. I never got out of the water so quickly. He got a hammer and banged on the shell, but he said, look mate, I know it's empty. I'll be doing the same thing every day for months. Yeah, I recommend diving if you haven't done it.
I did a bit of just snorkeling.
Well, that's good, but it's different.
Yeah, but it's a lot less hassle.
It's a lot less dangerous.
It's dangerous. Yeah. That was in the Andamans a couple of years ago. That was pretty epic.
actually. Not many people have been that.
The first person who said this, but your music often has a kind of underwater feel to it. The underwater feel.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
What's this one then?
This is Global Tillage. This is Waveform from Global Tillage, which is my album from '94. Came out on Rising High, and it was the first one to come out in Japan on Sony. And because of this, they decided, oh, techno is the new thing. So they picked up Warp, RNS and Rising High as 3 prominent techno labels.
Sorry, who did?
Sony Records in Japan.
Right.
So all of a sudden we were all launched in Japan with a big fanfare and had lots of advertising on billboards in Japan and things like that. And that was good. That gave me a chance to work with more Japanese artists and play in more cities in Japan. Up to that point I'd only played in Tokyo. But '94 I started playing in Osaka and Kyoto.
That's when we started to come over as well. They were big about Ninja Tune then. And there were these incredible Shinjuku and Shibuya record shops where they had incredible crate digger stuff, but really, really expensive, but they knew their shit super well. And then soon after that we signed DJ Kentaro, which was an epic sign for Ninja Tune. Yeah, Almondos Funk says, I know in the early 90s the Japanese seemed to embrace the British electronic scene. What do they think of British electronic music now? Well, our promoter, the wonderful Ray Hearn of Beatnik, who also handles Underworld, and Brian Eno, and Adrian Sherwood, and a few other top suits.
Everyone who's playing at Summer Sonic
says that actually, sadly, the Japanese are not so keen now on Western UK and American things.
Because they have so much of their own. The Japanese always learn it and perfect it.
Exactly, yeah. But it was better when we could all party together. We used to do, but I haven't been for 10 years.
Because I'd like to think, because I keep up with playing new music, I keep getting booked in Japan. Because a lot of DJs kind of play the same old thing all the time.
I think, that's fair enough, but
and also I play a lot more black music, which they really like in Japan.
Well, we play a lot of black music as well, but
I think we'll go and do a reggae
I think
set.
you've it's funny enough that the last time I was in Tokyo for Ninja's 20th, I did play a reggae set I was sort of back to back with Ross Allen, you know him?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah.
And getting busy with Dub Siren and having a great time. But I think your success in Japan is down to you having
a good manager in Japan.
Well, Bo Zach, a good friend of mine as well, who's an absolute don. But you've worked really hard and really consistently to build up your thing. You keep going back there. A lot of us chilled when there was the Fukushima reactor scenario. I didn't really feel like going there then.
Yes,
I
went straight back and it was really appreciated. You know, some people pulled out and the Japanese said that's fine, but secretly it was like, well, that's not fine. And the people who went back got a karma benefit. And equally, after the '95 earthquake, I went straight back and organised a big benefit. And in fact, after the Tohoku earthquake, I organised a benefit, but I wasn't so successful. In Japan, I raised a lot of money for the Kobe earthquake.
Right.
And I'm generally known as being very pro-Japanese, and Japanese like that. I support Japanese music a lot. I've helped make the style called Waliaric very popular now, which is like Japanese Balearic music. And of course there are many excellent tunes in the back catalogue in Japan that you can play on the beach.
Tiago Diaz says the music's too loud. I think he may be worried about the balance, but someone else just said it sounds awesome. Let us know on the balance here. Like I say, it's quite difficult to get it exactly right sometimes. I think that has been a fantastic, irresistible force for our groove scene. I think we might, we're going to keep this one going, party people. This is so good. It's such a joy to have Morris here. And I think we might take a bit more of a free wheel through some different music. It's a question of choosing stuff that we're not going to get busted and shut down for, though. So
But Ninja is okay. Well,
Ninja's okay.
play the
Warp's
Jim-
okay.
Play the Jimster mix of Napoli's Bliss then. Which wasn't on, which came in too late for the release, and so it's on Fish Dances. Do you remember that? This was supposed to be on the 12-inch of Nepalese Bliss, and it got delivered too late, so we put it on the next release. Anyway, I really like this. I just did a mix of Jimster and put it on Mixcloud, and it went down really well. Because nowadays he makes a lot of house music. People forget in the 90s he did all this fantastic, chilled, jazzy, down-tempo, beautiful music.
That was when I'm happy to say that we got him in the studio with Bernard Purdy.
I bet he loved that. And
did a bunch of tracks which came out. We used a lot of them on the Let Us Play, including the Steinsky track, Wild About That Thing, and Rubaiyat. And then later, when did the Bays was after that? Just after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of the 90s. Shame about the Bays, they never made a record.
Legendary though. I saw Andy Gangadine at the Little Chill last year.
That's right, I saw it.
Epic. And
Still
we
wearing
recorded
identical clothes. I swear he's only got one set of clothes. And he plays drums in big heavy boots, which must be difficult.
Plays pretty good though.
Yeah. Good enough for the Spice Girls.
He's like one of the top drummers in the country.
Yeah, he's now in Chase and Status.
Really?
Yeah.
My mate Sort of Phil did the visuals for quite a long time for them. I like them actually. That's like, to me, that's quite a successful marriage of overground
it's
appeal.
Pete Waterman, isn't it, behind it?
I've sort of
forgiven him.
I've forgiven him. Yeah, I've
forgiven him for Rick Astley.
I've relaxed my attitude.
I'd rather Jack than listen to Fleetwood Mac. The Reynolds Girls, yes.
Miro, Jungle Rebus in the house. Raver Bill, Unstoppable Force, Undeniable Force. Indeed. That's quite some nice witchy visuals there.
Yeah, I really love these drums that Jamie put on the track, and then someone said, "Oh, that's just on a Weather Report track."
You got away with it though.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed.
That's break you played me yesterday.
Webster Lewis.
Webster Lewis. That was an outrageous steal.
Yeah.
It's quite funny, people. You know some track really well, and then you hear the original. It's like, fuck me, that was a good steal. Not that Cold Cut are immune from that. We've done a few good steals in our time. There was a Cruder Dorfmeister remix of Lamb, sampling Webster Lewis. Yeah, we just, as our man Yaya from the orchestra said, we don't even have time to scratch the surface of the history of music. I think maybe we could, should we like tree off a little bit and talk a bit about this heat in Camberwell?
We could certainly talk about this heat in Camberwell now.
I could pull up that article.
I was going to play Gat Mangione, and I'm sure you'd get a takedown for that. So.
Yeah, let's keep it surreal.
Okay, and we'll keep it
Keep
indie.
it underground, keep it indie, that way we won't get Nazi down. Go for it. Here we go.
So I was a teenager at home in Lincolnshire, and then suddenly this strange noise came on the radio on the John
Let me
Peel
pull
show.
up this article because it is actually, look, it's Alex Petridis,
Ah.
of course. Okay, I'm going to just pull up this article.
It's finally available to stream.
So today, I read a little article about This Heat, and they are a legendary band that Morris has often talked about, and actually I was onto them fairly early on as well. What were you saying, mate, that you knew about them before you knew about Can?
Yes.
That's quite a good observation. Me too. I was actually, you never believe this, I was working at Harrods in the sale in the holidays, and I had a crazy French friend called Philippe, and he turned me on to this 24-track loop.
It was just a time when hundreds of punk bands were coming out, and suddenly there was this band that sounded totally different from all the other bands.
Well, there was the Cabs and Throbbing Gristle. I think they were.
All of those bands started in '75 without knowing about each other.
So over lockdown, says Charles Hayward, he found his thoughts turning to this heat, the wildly influential band he played in 40 years ago. And legendary pioneers from Camberwell, which is where Morris lived until fairly recently for the last 35 years. So were they still living there when you were there?
No, not at all. Charles Hayward's lived in Deptford area for the last 30 years or so, but he recorded in Brixton all the time, a place called Cold Storage, which was like an arts collective that all the members of Henry Cow and Robert Wyatt and people recorded there.
Yeah.
And so there was all drum kits with Henry Cow written on them and things like that.
Cold Storage, here we go, a huge fridge in a disused meat pie factory where they rehearsed.
And I actually hung out with them a lot.
It was chaos, but the sound of the bass drum in there was incredible.
Yes, it was. And I actually made a record in that studio later on, which is going to come out soon as well. With Charles from This Heat and Gwen and me made some tracks together.
Really? What,
yep.
Gwen? Gwen?
Gwen, yeah.
Hey, Callum, if you want to paste in that article, it's a really interesting article. It's about little known UK, London electronic music punk pioneers and the group of Morris.
It was only 25 press that was of that record, and I had it valued at £2,000 recently. Possibly I'm not selling records.
So, sorry, what record's that?
The one that me, Gwen and Charles Bullen did.
When did you make that?
82. 82, 83, I guess. No, a bit later. It was after the Lifetones. Charles made the Lifetones album. Did you know about that? That's recently been reissued by Lights in the Attic. There's a fantastic label from Seattle who do reissues. They also did the free design. Lots of really good things. And they do an excellent job.
Free design, the acapella
60s band, yeah.
Sort of the one as sampled by
me, actually.
various people.
I actually got permission from them to use the sample.
Yeah, they're still around?
No, they're dying now because they're a 60s band. I got posthumous permission. So this track's called 24-track loop, and it's literally a loop of 24-track tape, which would have been 2 inches wide.
Yeah, they were like 20
About 100.
Andrea Goring, that was interesting. Resident Science, who's check that out. That's the Eventide,
That is the Eventide, exactly. It fiddles with the fabric of space-time.
Is that there?
That's from No, that's from the cartoon by Adam Buxton about Eno and Bowie producing Low together. If you haven't seen it, I'll show you later. And it says, "Shall I use the Eventide harmonizer? It fiddles with the fabric of space-time." And Bowie says, "No, just some reverb will do." Adam Buxton is a genius at impersonating Bowie, so he just loves any excuse to do very Bowie voices. Apparently Eno and Bowie used to love Derek and Clive, and they used to recite Derek and Clive sketches in the studio. So he's actually doing that and getting both the accents right while doing Derek and Clive. So I'd say that's fairly advanced impressions to do David Bowie doing Peter Cook. That's next level, eh?
I do feel a bit guilty about being talking over all this music, but it is.
That's okay. It's available to stream now.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So if we search.
Do you want another This Heat track?
Yeah. And what about Camberwell Now?
Camberwell Now is the band after This Heat split up. Charles Hayward formed another band, Camberwell Now, and they used some songs that This Heat hadn't recorded yet. So I put on the one that they've suddenly become trendy because of Steve Davis. My mate Steve Davis, world snooker champion and erstwhile DJ. He has a band now called Utopia Strong. And it's really, really good, the Utopia Strong album. And progressive electronic.
And here a guy called Adam. Sonia. Only joking, mate. He says we should be the new Derek and Clive, but it's not enough swearing.
Newscaster.
This is from '86, and one guy in the band is only doing cassettes, so he's doing like cassette sampling. So all of these vocal drops are analog sampling. And always, This Heat and Camberwell Now use tapes in a very innovative way. Like part of the live gig would be sound effects on tape that come in randomly and you don't know when they're going to happen. And that would be part of the music.
John, my partner, invented this technique of taking the leader out of cassettes. You could open the cassette up, chop the leader out, and then put it back and record on it, and then it was like an instant start cartridge. They used to use that.
The leader would just be plastic though, with no magnetic.
That's why you took it out.
I see. So as you could start at zero.
You could start at zero. So that was
I used to take a lot of cassettes apart and wind them around broom handles and things. I used to get Linguaphone, used to send you a free demo tape, a free cassette of their service. And so as like a 10-year-old I wrote off about 50 of them. Big pile of Linguaphone tapes.
John also told me the story the other day that he was a woodwork teacher at school, right, in South London. And they got permission for the kids to bring in cassettes to play at school.
Dangerous.
And well, he said all sorts of stuff coming in because the kids from the background. So you got Bollywood, you got African music and reggae. But he got a woodworking project. They used to always want to rewind their tapes, but then that had run the batteries down. So he got everyone to build in woodwork. Special thing to rewind the tapes by spinning it like a football rat.
Oh well, we were tape ninjas. We knew, and just use an HP pencil and give it a spin or a biro. A number of times I'd be spinning one tape back to zero while the other one was coming to the end. I did DJ from cassettes for a brief time.
Yeah.
In '86. I have everything queued up at exactly the right point.
I used to do that. I'm actually been DJing even longer than you, so still not very good at it. We were doing that in 1974. I ran my little disco.
Okay,
Supersonic disco.
I give up at that point.
What a good time to be. So what's this? Camberwell Now.
Camberwell Now, yes. And this is the one that Steve Davis started playing. Everyone is treating it as if it's quite a normal thing. I've never heard any DJ play things like this before. That's what I like about him. He plays music. He plays things like Captured Beefheart and Frank Zappa. You don't often get to hear in this stuff. But it fits in very well with Glastonbury and festivals like that. So he's now become like a big success in Glastonbury. More power to his balls. Top guy.
So how old is this track?
It's 86.
Just pre-house.
Yes, it's not intended as dance music.
Well,
it's accidental dance music. If you'd have told them it was like disco, they'd have probably taken it off the record.
Well, remember compared to
I do, William Orbit, yes. in the early 80s that are fantastic now that take it seriously. It was, in the early 80s, it was the worst sellout that an indie band could do was to go disco. Even when New Order did Blue Monday, for a lot of people that was beyond the pale, and they were a complete sellout. I was actually at the gig where they first used a synthesizer, and it was like Bob Dylan going electric in Newport. It was like a genre-defining moment, Joy Division brought in a synthesizer in the middle of their set and played the tracks for decades. And there were a lot of hardcore punks that they just walked out of the venue and never came back.
The guy called that
and he can actually use it as well. Yeah, Utopian song, we like that, we know that one. Yeah, got that. Yeah, about 30,000
tracks. Try lifting that as well.
Yeah, I mean more than Mr. Scruff. This is the Utopia Strong album. I'm trying to remember what the brilliant track is. This is the danciest track, but I think it's quite good.
More eyes? Okay, a tiny bit more mics, a bit less track. Well, I think this one sounds quieter actually. Test, test, balance, balance. That sounds about right.
I have actually challenged Mr. Davis to a prog off to be held at a later date. His partner in the band is Carvus Tarabi, who is also the singer of Gong now, and was also in the Cardiacs, and also is the leader of Knife World. So he keeps himself busy. He has like half a dozen bands going.
Wow. What's the name, sorry?
Carvus Tarabi. Tarabi.
Well, it's good that we're getting the chance to dig in the roots a bit. As we say, unfortunately, we can't play most modern stuff because we'll get banned, unless it happens to be on Merlin.
I think you'll be alright with this because it's self-released.
Yeah. Well, this is, Bandcamp stuff as well, which should be fairly safe.
Yoshi Horikawa, you'd probably be pretty safe.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a playlist.
Exactly, Miliardo. A lovely change of tone. That's why we have Mixmaster Morris. Raver Bill's missing some ramjack. You got anything that you've done with Paul?
Well, if you're a fan of Ramjack, we just signed a contract to do Irresistible Force versus Ramjack 1990 live LP. So that's coming out on We Release Whatever the Fuck We Want Records very soon. And in fact, Mark Wigan has just done the sleeve, and I just saw it this morning. So he's the original artist that did all the murals at the Brain Club, which was maybe the first live electronic music club in England back in 1990 in Soho. And people like me and Gerald and Baby Ford and Adamski and Orbital were all resident there on, I think it was Fridays. And so every week you'd see live Keyboard Wizards. These guys, back in those days.
That was, opposed to 70s keyboard wizards.
Yeah, this is more at the beginning of raves. We were trying to develop a live act for raves. I guess people who weren't around 30 years ago don't know this, of which Adamski and Guru Josh became the two most successful.
I know, I see Adamski from time to time because he lives down in Ramsgate near to Adrian Sherwood. He makes some quite interesting 3/4 sounds he's into now.
Yeah, he had a long waltz period.
And Ramjack actually used to often come to Pirate TV, and I got some good old archive of him playing actually. He used to come down, bring some percussion instruments and freak out. He was a regular member of the posse. You want to spin it? Have you got anything off the record with him?
Who?
The Ramjack record you were just talking about.
Oh, well, I have the whole album, but we haven't got time to play it.
No, you could just play a snatch of it.
See what I've got Ramjack on here. I'm quite enjoying this track.
It's nice. Stay on it as long as you want. We can also stop talking for a while and you can find stuff and I can mix visuals along because it's quite nice to have give people just some music.
Going into a black hole is going to look like.
Or feel like.
Forever. Time would never end for you. It's awesome. It's so hypnotic that you get lost in it. Especially on headphones.
It's wicked, absolutely wicked track.
So let's put some Yossi on. This is a good friend of mine in Tokyo, and his name is Yossi Horikawa. And just for a laugh, we call him Torikawa, which means chicken wing. But he's a sound designer and he builds speakers, and he makes music out of natural sounds. So he goes around with a Zoom recorder and records insects and rivers and never uses any synthesizers. So all of his sounds are from nature. And this one is somebody talking on a board. I think it's called The Letter. I've not heard this on headphones before, it sounds great.
translate okay on the stream.
Goes well with the music. That's a great one to talk over. Yeah.
Matt Morris has said, remember when we took Yossi to his first Glasto?
Yeah.
DF Tram was there. I remember that as well. Oh, someone's trolling us out in the chat. Modern Chair. Whoever that is. I think you're going to get banned for that, mate.
Perhaps it's alien communication. I haven't understood it. This is a record I really liked from last year. The artist's name is Loidis, which is the Roman name for Leeds. I didn't know that before.
It's all-seeing eye. Okay. Okay, let me check something else here.
I would go so far as to say this is my favourite electronic music record of the last few years, but I couldn't tell you why. The Floating World and All Its Pleasures. See, another Japanese reference.
I know the Floating World, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't listening. Remind us who the artist is again?
The artist is Loidis, which is the Roman name for Leeds. But it is Workout S, it's better known as. And I think he's from New York. But a lot of people think he's German because he moved to Berlin.
How old is it?
This record is 2 years old.
Wow. It sounds like a long-lost classic by Raymond Scott, almost. Hey there, DF Tram. Good to see you.
Hello, Dylan. Zagreb calling.
Are you in Zagreb, mate? Saying hi to Jose Rocha. Let's know where you're calling from there, Pipe people. Yeah, Zagreb in the house.
The bass drum is mixed so low that when you play it out it's almost not there. It's very, very deep.
That's great. Wow, the feedback's looking quite lush. What about? I mean, this is perfectly good like this. You could play off Tractor.
I could have done. I could change the tractor, but I haven't got a controller for it, so it's a bit futile.
It is possible to DJ without headphones.
Done it many times. It's 15 minutes.
Loidis. Loidis. Bernard Lobos is called Loidis, Loidos, and I think
DIS.
DIS. Actually, all right there. I'm gonna Dr. Acor on Twitch. Thanks for posting that in the chat there. I'm gonna take that and do a little transplant there for you on Facebook.
In fact, I played this at.
There you go.
I played this at Deckmantle.
It's terrific. I love it. Barry J. Davis has found it. Yeah. The Attenborough Fireflies push it. Visual rhythms. So good. It's like you say, the kick's there, but it's kind of subliminal, isn't
Yeah.
it? I bet it thumps on a big system, does it? It's a pulse, isn't it?
It's so low, unless you've got a really big speaker. I don't think you're going to hear it.
I remember Marshall Jefferson telling a story about, his sound engineer. He'd have a row with him and say, I can't hear the kick drum, Marshall. No, but you can feel my kick drum. Pulse.
Everything in Ibiza now, they have the kick drum like 20 decibels too loud to drown out how lame everything else is.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of.
It shouldn't be necessary to have a huge kick all the time.
One Nation Under a Groove, but
eschew the kick.
I mean, the number of tracks that that's one of the nice things about this. These AI kills on the DJ Pros.
Yeah.
You can just take the drums out of any track. Turn any track into an ambient track by just taking the drums out.
Hurrah!
Exactly.
Or you can put it in Paul Stretch. Turn Justin Bieber into a beautiful ambient track.
Yeah. That is a bit of a favourite
That's
secret
quite a
weapon of
stretch.
mine, that. Quite a stretch.
If you can make Justin Bieber sound good, just think what it can do to really good music. And he actually liked the ambient remix.
Sorry, I started guiltily as you said that, because I did put Steve Reich through it and it came out sounding really fucking good, and I made this sample which I use in every track.
There you go.
Let's have some different Fireflies.
It'd be interesting to do a set of jungle classics, but then re-pitch them all to 120 and do it like a house music set.
Well, that's sort of what breakbeat is. Yeah, look, Mum No Computer. Didn't you mention him, actually?
Yeah, I like him. Yep.
Andrea Goring is pointing us in that direction. Yeah, we checked it, Andrea. Yeah, wicked. Barry J. Davis has got a question for you, mate. He's loving the visuals tonight. Thank you, Barry. I'm getting the chance to do some video mixing, which mixing to Morris is, VJing to Morris is sort of one of my all-time thrills. It's a bit of an ad hoc setup, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. Barry wants to know, what's the future of ambient? Big question. Let's give us a riff on that.
I don't know. We'll have to wait till my next record comes out.
Nicely observed. What modern artists have attracted you, though? You've got the Loidis who played here. That's absolutely classic. I'll
not
throw
many
one out there.
modern ambient artists.
What do you think of Neil's Frame?
Neil's Frame?
Yeah.
I quite like that. Yeah.
I think he's great. I saw him at the Roundhouse a couple of years ago. He can really play, that guy. And
I think the best new ambient artist I heard is Angel Deridorian, who's a woman from LA who works. She's on the Flying Lotus album.
Is she on Brainfeeder?
No, she's not on Brainfeeder, perhaps. We need to get her. She's like a
Ginger
female
A&R.
Terry Riley. Yeah.
Luke, if you're listening, female Terry Riley is in the house. Angel Deridorian. I wonder if we're gonna.
There you go. We've got 27 songs.
Think we can get away with playing anything? Or do you think we'll get busted?
No, I'm sure that'll be alright. I'm sure it's some tiny label, but it's going to be a random track then.
Random Angel Deridorian track coming up. Let's see where we go with this.
I have no idea.
Wicked. Not what we expected.
Not what I expected at all.
We might have to reverse that.
Very different. This all seems a lot more drums than... Oh, this one actually says ambient, so we'll have a look. There is a wave of female ambient producers now, which is encouraging to see.
Very encouraging.
Caitlin Aurelia Smith.
Yeah, it's that lady on Ninja who I really like. Did you check that James Zoo with the Metropole Orchestra? Milk.
No, I haven't seen that, but James Zoo is pretty off the hook.
This is really, I mean, I thought it was kind of the best mashup of electronic and sort of neo.
Did they do it live together?
Well, yeah, he did it with this shit hot Dutch.
Yeah, I know the Metropole Orchestra.
Metropole Orchestra is,
yeah.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. What do you think of A Winged Victory for the Sullen?
It's a bit gloomy.
Okay, Juliana Barwick.
I like her, yes.
Wicked.
Yeah. She's done really well. I think she did a record with Diplo recently.
Good.
Who I just followed today on Instagram. It's got 5.8 million followers.
There's one major laser track. I looked at the number of views on YouTube. I couldn't even work out what the number was. It was so big. I think it was 1 billion. Over 1 billion views.
I love Get Free. Is that the title? That is the title, yeah. That's fantastic. Looking at these penguins reminds me that penguin poop is the major source of phosphine gas. So people have speculated that Venus might actually have penguins flying around a high altitude farting and generating this signal, which is a wonderful thought.
Don't know if you pirates have...
Well, penguins can't fly, so that's not actually going to work.
Well, they might be flying Venusian penguins.
Well, I suppose the atmosphere is so deep that they could probably swim in the atmosphere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So dense, rather.
Yeah, pirates. I don't know if you've been checking out. Scientists are very excited. They've detected phosphine, pH 3, on Venus, and it could well be a sign of life because they can't. We don't reckon there's any non-living processes that would create it in that quantity. People are very excited about that concept.
It would immediately be oxidized if it was created. So it must be being created at the moment.
Freshly recreated.
Yeah. Same with methane on Mars. There's definitely some Nobel Prizes gonna be headed their way if they could prove that. I've never heard that track.
That's interesting. Modern Chair is saying that Future Sound and London were working on some Eurorack modules.
Ah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
I would play pub if I could.
I was very into Buggy G Riphead's visuals for them. I thought they should have kept him in the band.
Well, actually, they worked when me and Matt did a show in 1988. They did the visuals for that because they were Stacker Humanoid, weren't they? Back
Stacker
then?
Humanoid, yeah, that was real groundbreaking stuff. The music was pretty good as well. Actually.
It was, but the visuals came first.
Yeah, and they were done using the Fairlight CVI, the Acid Machine of visuals, which I did have one of, and then my friend Nick Mindscape said that I've blown mine up. Can I borrow yours? I was doing this weird patch and I'd blown it up. So I lent him my one and he blew mine up as well.
With the same patch?
With the same patch. And no one could fix it. So that was the end of the 303 of Acid Visuals for mine. I think I'm still looking to pick one up when I get a bit richer. Yeah, that's right, Buggy lives in New Zealand, I think.
This is a band called Pub from Berlin, and this has been a big record in Germany. I've only just heard about it recently, but it was big last year in Germany. And I miss out actually from not being so much in Germany as I used to be. You know, you hear a lot of different angle on electronic music over there. I always used to buy a lot of records in Germany.
And did you play at all the...
I played at the Love Parade for about 8 years. Dr. Motto, yes. He started the Love Parade back in 91, and I played at the 92 one. I still have the poster for it. And then I did the Chill Out thing every year for about 5 more years at Love Parade. And it grew to 2 million people and just took over the city. It was complete madness. And I believe it's coming back to Berlin, which is the only city big enough to host it, really. Berlin has a huge park, the size of Hyde Park.
Yeah.
So you can easily put 1 or 2 million in it without them spilling out all over town.
They had one though, didn't they? Of people get crushed up.
They had a disastrous one in Duisburg, but they sold the name to a dodgy German businessman who had a chain of gyms, and he put it on in Duisburg, and I think he's just gone to jail for life because there was a terrible disaster and like 20 kids were crushed to death at the party. But it was entirely his fault because he had the exit and the entrance down the same tunnel. And so it was bound to happen, and then the moment Tiesto came on, 10,000 people are trying to get in, and all the music lovers are trying to get out. So they ran into each other. But yeah, that was an age of innocence for techno music in the early 90s, and it was fantastic to be there in Berlin. Because for me, I went to Berlin first in '84. And I went to a big all-night party with electronic music, you know, and everyone was off their face, and that is some kind of rave. And it was certainly the first time I'd been to anything like that.
We used to use the word rave for any big
Well, the Germans used the word techno right back to about 1980. Because
in terms of the word rave,
there was a club called Techno Club.
We used to do warehouse parties in the mid-80s, and we called rave.
Yes, I attended a couple of them.
And drum and bass meant sort of rare groove black music, slow black music, also called two-step. So these phrases get recycled.
Yeah, like garage gets recycled every 10 years, electro gets recycled every 10 years.
Yeah.
Electro means something totally different now. If you go and play Nucleus at an electro night, they'll think you've gone bonkers. So the latest genre this week is comfy synth.
Yeah, I think that sounds quite nice. I don't mind me some comfy synth.
It's probably best to make your own comfy synth record before listening to anybody else's.
We need a comfy synthesizer first, or mine are a bit sharp. like the harmonium, the Harken Continuum. That looks pretty nice. Yeah, that one?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's this funky controller, but it's sort of upholstered in kind of plush red leather.
I have a theory that synthesizers with wooden ends sound better than plastic ones. It's Mini Moogs and Prophets. Everything in the 70s had wooden parts. ARC 2600 is in a wooden box with metal front.
Ingmar's doing his new 2600 version. Hey, Almondas Funk. Okay, where would you recommend to go for the best time in the world, Mixmaster Morris, for a music night out?
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely. Always hear better electronic music in Japan and better chill out music.
UK, this is for you as well. Ask Morris what is it about Japan he loves so much. He's listening from early morning Brisbane. Welcome, good morning to you. Yeah, tell us more.
Well, I love the people and I love the music scene, but they also have the best sound systems and they put the most attention into getting the sound fantastic.
Yeah.
And most Japanese, if you live in the city, you can't really play loud music at home because you've got neighbours. So people go, traditionally they went to a jazz cafe that would have all the latest records and a really, really good sound system, and then you can listen to really good loud music. And so that's kind of continued with our listening bars. I do a club in Tokyo called Sunset the Marina, and it takes place in the marina with lots of boats. And we just play, I think, 3 o'clock till 9 o'clock, so before and after sunset. And it's a family show, so a lot of people bring kids, and there's a creche. You can leave your kids there and the school teachers. So it's a big thing in Japan actually to provide childcare at parties.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole audience that you're missing. You can't go out otherwise.
Yeah.
We used to do that at the Warp, remember?
Well, right, but it was also kind of how the big chill got started. Was us as ravers became parents, we still wanted to have a good time.
Did we have a crash at the first big chill?
No, but it was child friendly.
Right.
It was child friendly in a way that other parties weren't.
True.
I still see Pete Lawrence quite often.
Well, not for long, because he's about to move to Greece.
Is he?
Yes, he's going to Paros on a one-way ticket with all his furniture. And he was just posting 48 hours ago, I've just been stood up for the second time, who's going to give me a lift to Greece? It's probably quite difficult to find someone to drive you to Paros, because it's not on the way to anything else. But I can't drive, so I couldn't help out. But I guess I might be moving to Corfu, in which case I'll be doing that kind of drive as well.
Just be down the road.
Well, it's the other side of Greece.
Okay, well, it's nearer than we're going to meet you. I've been reading Donut Economics, which Pete turned me on to. We were at XR last year. And it was all, walking around, and it was all a bit grey and rainy, and wondering, like, not sure what I'm doing here. And then we turned the corner, and there was Pete, and he said, this woman, Kate Rayworth's going to speak, you want to hear this? So we heard her talk with about 200 or 300 people there, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. It was like, yeah, this is why I'm here, to have my mind blown by some new ideas I haven't heard before. And her book's called Donut Economics. I highly recommend that. I think I'll plug that next week, maybe. There's a little article about it we can do. Some new ideas. Incredible how economists have, old school economists have trashed the world, really. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And she explains what new vision of that could look like.
We're still listening to Derail by Pub, which is from Berlin, and just reminds me of parties that go on for days and days and days. and nobody cares that the track is 14 minutes 15 seconds. I'm missing New Healing Festival. For the last 10 years I've done a very hippie festival. It's 3 hours drive from Berlin in the direction of Hamburg, with lots of old hippies and lots of nudists, nude swimming in the lake. We had an outbreak of horses the other year. A load of people went away and came back with horses, and we're riding horses around on the dance floor. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we need more natural vibes.
Yeah.
Lots of love for Berlin here in the chat. That sounds interesting. Andrea Goring saying, my darling Iris was a toddler on the stage at the Wall.
Oh, that's nice. See, I'm jealous. Just found all the Davidorian ambient tracks, so in a different playlist.
Yeah, go back to them, we can do whatever we want.
I really liked Bibio's ambient album on Warp, from which this is taken. But then I've heard their new album and it's much more folk music. So it's interesting.
Oh, this track.
You know it?
Yeah.
Capel Kellyn.
Yeah, I love this. This is quite old. You've been playing this for
This
years.
is about 3 or 4 years old. I played this at the Rogerino gig. When you're in a church, you think, what track's going to sound nice with the acoustics of this church? And this one sounded beautiful. It's already like deep reverb.
Thanks for the feedback, Adrian. Maybe that's a bit better. Nice note from Electro Elvis there. My favourite moments at Big Chill Bagleys were Wish Mountain wearing whistle and spats using a toaster as an instrument. You know what? I videoed Dr. Rocket using a toaster at the Big Chill, the second Big Chill festival, the one where they went bust.
I is not a toaster, but a positive boaster. I love Herbert.
Yeah,
I kind of started Herbert's career because I judged a talent competition in '92 for ID magazine, and Strongbow were the sponsors, and his was easily the best entry and the shortest as well, and the prize was a Mirage, Ensoniq Mirage sampler, I think, and he got his first studio equipment out of that. So I made a good choice, I think. The other ones are terrible. But what I remember of that Big Chill gig was he came out with a loaf of bread and made music slicing the bread, and then he came out with cheese and sliced the cheese, and then while the two loops played, he made cheese sandwiches and handed them out to everyone in the audience.
That's showmanship.
Yeah.
Bit cheesy, but...
A bit cheesy.
Okay, thanks for the feedback, Bernard.
He is now the head of the Radiophonics Workshop at the BBC.
Yes, I've spoken to him about that. It's not really doing anything because they just have loads of meetings and they never give them any money to do anything. Sorry, that might be confidential.
That sounds like that sounds like Radiophonics in the old days.
It didn't stop in the old days.
they never had any equipment. They were just doing it with oscillators.
They had plenty
Rulers.
They had VCS3s and a bunch of stuff. I saw a lot of it, because they all got thrown out a few years ago.
I think Delia had stuff like that. She did have big studio tape machines to splice on.
Yeah, then that was all there was.
Imagine having to make 1,000 notes, cut them individually to the right length and stick them all together without making a mistake. That's how Love and Dancing was done. Thousands of splices to the master half-an-inch tape.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if we haven't made it too easy. Sometimes I sit down at Ableton and jam, and well, even just deciding whether to work on visuals or music is tough, because you can just do anything now. Sometimes I think it was easier when it was just a 4-track, a cassette deck and a turntable.
Two turntables and a microphone.
And a mixer. Wow, that's good. Richie VK says, I recently discovered Jogging House and his label Seal. There's lots of nice ambience on there. You heard of this guy, Jogging House?
No.
We'll check it out, Richie.
We'll check it out.
Hi there, Lulu. We shall endeavour.
When was the last time I played in Brighton? Well, I was born in Brighton. And I always come and play in Brighton if I get booked. The last time was with the Orb, not long ago, at the Concord. Oh no, I didn't do that. Why didn't I do that? It was a mix-up. I think I was advertised, but I wasn't booked, so I didn't do it.
There you go, Barry. Opportunity to get into promoting an ambient gig with Morris in Brighton.
It's only an hour away. I'll come and do it anytime.
It's like disintegration loops.
It is, but even more nice.
Yeah, it's disintegration loops is a bit more disintegrated. This is a bit more lush.
Yeah, because it's old tape that's falling apart.
Yeah.
The video of that was very striking. It's just an hour of the smoke blowing past on 9/11.
Next track, please, Mixmaster.
Where should we go?
I feel a bit ashamed actually, because this has been an excellent session, but I haven't provided a decent mixing setup for the Mixmaster to mix.
Well, I'll bring my tractor next time.
Next time,
yeah,
we will do it more properly. This has been pretty decent though. Oh, Morris, you're getting feedback. You need to not eat your microphone. Okay. So keep an eye on this level here, mate.
This is a nice guy I met in Japan called Steve Good, and he gave me a CD, and jolly good it was. The album's called Everything's Inside Everything Else.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us there, DF Tram, that Morris is streaming for Chillits Festival this weekend.
That's right.
That'll be on twitch.tv/Chillits. There are links there. I'll just paste that into Facebook.
It's something like 9 p.m. GMT.
9:30 p.m.
9:30
time. DF's told us. Dylan's told us. Yeah, don't need the microphone. Mixmaster ID for that beautiful church ambient track, please.
That was Bibio. The track's called Capel Kerin, and it's on Warp Records. I forget the name of the album. It's their album from about 3 years ago. Not the new album, which is completely different. But also good. BBO did some tracks with Wax Stag. They were both excellent. There's a guy from York I really like, who's totally unknown.
Everything is touching everything else.
Yeah. Steve Cobby, good friend of mine. We toured in Japan together. We had Frida Basilia play live at the Big Chill. I think, was that their only live gig, maybe? He never stops working, Steve Cobby. Seems to make a new track every day. I can recommend his new act with Dennis Bavell called BBC.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, we can play that. Their single's called Quality Weed.
My first ever record was produced by Dennis Bavell. Did you know that?
How cool is that? Yeah, you told me that.
The Jazz Insects. Well, I can't put any dub on Morris, but I can dub myself out of it.
I think I might do a Dennis Bavell mix on Mixcloud. I did Mad Professor last month.
Thank you, Spud O'Connor.
Oh, there you go.
Wednesday night. We call it Pirate TV. Special session with the one and only Mixmaster Morris, the irresistible force. Across the tracks, sign-ups to sign-ups. Taking it further.
Okay, I've found the BBC track, so let's have a bit of that. I think this is the best mix. No, that's the housey one.
Yeah, let's have the dub.
This is the reggae version.
Dennis's, Mr. Bavell's dubs, which I like particularly.
Good lyrics, the song.
Actually, I can do this, can't I?
You can dub that up.
Admirable sentiment.
Set yourself free whenever you wanna. Avail yourself of somebody you wanna.
Love it.
Select the buds and plant the seeds. To be sure your
I don't know who the other B is. BBC. Ravel, Cobby, and somebody.
Yes, my pirates. I think actually it's probably time to wrap this party up for the night. Extended session here, Pirate TV, as Resolute's crashed, and I'm not sure how to get out of it. Emperor-sized. Respect to Mixmaster Morris.
Take my advice, now hear ye this.
Always listening to Mixmaster Morris.
There's nothing wrong with cannabis. Set yourself free whenever you wanna. Avail yourself of some marijuana. Select the buds and plant the seed.
This is only on a 7-inch.
To be sure you're partaking of quality weed. Quality weed. Quality weed.
Yeah. I think that is an optimum time to end this session. Say a huge thank you to everyone for tuning in, and the biggest thank you for my man Mixmaster Morris.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for inviting us.
Say hello and goodbye here on the microphone, here on the cam. And yeah, that's been really a special session. Thanks very much everyone who made it, and we'll return. I'll be back on next Wednesday, and you never know, Morris might be here, but we're definitely going to do this again in the future. And we're working on the ambient mix album and lots of fine projects. So have a wonderful week until next Wednesday. Stay safe everyone. Much love from Morris and me and Dinars, and
wear a mask.
Wear a mask, stay safe.